Okay, call meeting to order. Do a pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. This thing, yes, go ahead.
Should we try the new roll call?
Sure.
Okay, so, I'll call roll, and this is for our minutes to help smooth that over. So Richard Ballard,
Present.
Tom Bush,
Here.
Davidson,
Here.
Teresa Trout,
Here.
Sam Byer, absent.
All right, the first thing on my agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 9th regular meeting. Everybody had a chance to go over there.
Yes.
Are there any corrections or discussion? Is there a motion to accept the meetings from the June 9th meeting?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. And the next thing is the discussion of the 2027 Bass Lake Beach Pier installation removal 3-year contract, and everybody has a copy of that, right?
Yes, and my apologies, they are not stapled, they are just folded together. Not my best work, but I think this needs just a little bit of work. So I did the best I could. I used the old contract and I adapted it to the best of my ability for the 3 years, but I think yes, and he looked it over too. Justin already looked it over, but I think it's not really clear for who the contractor when they will be paid or.
So what I'd throw out there is since it is the first time we've kind of done the 3-year contract and we've kind of switched how it is that the progress of that. So instead of the contract for installation and removal, we've kind of switched it to contract for removal and installation so that whoever it is that bids on it has all of the information that they need when they,
Mhm.
take it up.
Mhm.
So, and this is the first time we've done a 3-year contract. What I'd like to see on here is at least totals for each year that they're bidding, and then a grand total at the end. And I'd like to see if we can, I don't think we have to have it sealed, but I think it would be better if it was. For when the bidders send in their quotes, that they just send it in a sealed envelope so that we can open up at our next meeting, so that there's no question about anybody seeing anybody else on bids. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? To do it that way. And since we really need to probably award it in August or at the latest, the September meeting, we should have maybe submit that by, I don't know, block in our next meeting.
Yeah, because that's like August 13th or something.
Yeah. 14th, I mean.
What was the total amount on that contract?
So there is no total amount. We're just saying that we want each of the bidders to submit their costs for removal and installation for each of the contract years. There's 3 years beginning with the removal this year going into next year.
Do you guys reasonably expect it to be over 50 grand?
No.
Oh,
What was it last?
The last year was
bid
just
requirement.
around 11 or so, but I know that would go up per year, so we probably are looking about 35 or so, 40.
Okay, I only asked because of bidding requirements on public works projects, but if you think you're gonna be under 50.
Yeah, and this is more like a service contract because it's the service they're providing of the removal and installation. So
Yeah, are they providing the piers?
no,
No,
No, you guys.
we have all
we
that.
own the pier.
Okay.
Strictly labor, basically.
Yeah. Labor and then placing the removal that appears in spots
Storage.
where we want it to be stored. So, And I think there's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 now installation removal guys out there, so we should try to make sure we get it out to everybody.
Okay.
This doesn't start till next year, right?
No,
Well,
this,
no,
That's not removal, that was this year.
yeah,
I'd like to make a change, or we could change some of the equipment on the piers. What I'd like to have them do this year on the aluminum piers. Is put a few augers in along the aluminum piers, so the wind don't rip them up like it does the other side of the lake. So maybe like the short pier, 3 or 4 augers instead of the flat shoes. So the wind can't catch it, pull it up, like it's happened.
I don't have any problem with looking into those things, but I think right now, at this point in time of the year, it's kind of hard to do. I'd rather keep the service of removal and
But it's
installation.
gonna, he's gonna have to bid the extra time to put augers.
No, well, I'm not saying, I would say we do that separate, you
Okay,
know, and we get more clarification on what that means. Cause
Okay.
I think, I just
we
think.
could do it as
Just
an.
against it, I'm just saying today, I think it's kind of too
I
late.
know,
to
we
throw that
lost
in.
a few piers, we did, people
We-
lost a few piers
Right.
there.
Right.
And I mean, it wouldn't cost us that much to have that done in.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to looking into it. I just don't, I think it'd be kind of tough to do that.
We can do it as an add-on after the contract.
Well, we can do a separate contract for somebody to do that next year, because that wouldn't happen until installation anyway.
Right.
So,
Well, I think the contract is pretty clear about what we want done. And how we want it done. What's a reasonable time for us to be, to pay them once they've completed?
oh, it doesn't say that in there, does it?
I'm sorry?
It doesn't say that in there. does
No, I know.
it? Yeah, okay,
I think within a month of the,
30 days.
30 days of the completion of the work. For both the removal and the installation.
Yeah.
Those would be paid separate?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and until I don't think we should pay it until they've done the
Yeah.
work.
No, I just wanna make it clear, so we know.
so should I have? Should it say on there each year, like 2027, and then installation and removal where they will put an,
Yeah, we really should put the removal and installation so they get the
oh yeah, sorry,
sense of
right,
how it's gonna flow.
I agree.
So
So contract year for 27, it includes the removal for 26 and the installation for 27.
Yeah,
And then for the next year, it's.
27 and 28.
Right.
28, 29.
Got it.
Okay,
And I think they should bid a total for each part of it. You know what I mean? So a total for the first year of the contract, and then a total for each following year, and then a grand total so that we can see what it is that they're bidding over the 3-year period,
Okay.
I think. I don't know what others think, but.
no, it sounds right. So you'll revise it
And I'll
and
send it
we'll
to
be
you
able to
guys.
vote on it next week.
Or should I just revise it and then go ahead and?
I would go ahead and send it out and just make sure that they're aware that it needs to be in by our next meeting, which is
Go ahead and
6
pick
P.M. in August, whatever the date is. And that will, and just submit it in a sealed envelope.
Whether they mail it or hand it.
Well, it has to be in our presence by 6
Yeah, but
P.M.
they could come to the meeting with
They
it.
can come to the meeting with it. That's it.
Okay. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the discussion of the DNR reports for Bass Lake Beach and Kramer Beach. And I didn't understand any of that.
Really understand it either. Basically,
Justin, is there a way we can contact DNR and ask them? Because
Well, one of them we
one of the things that they're saying that we may have done, we didn't do. So how do we
Did you
go
get a
about?
notice of this?
Michaeline sent me a picture. I don't know what they were trying to show. They sent us a picture of the beach
Right.
and an aerial photo, but I don't know what they're trying to point out.
There's letters from.
so the really the audience, basically, the letters say that
You can't.
both Kramer's Beach and Bass Lake, we got something from both. And the form letter's pretty much the same for both, so. It just is saying that we changed or added to the beach without a permit, but we didn't. They rake the beach at Kramer's Beach, we rake the beach at Bass Lake. So when I talked to our local DNR guy, I know that he did not observed these things himself. He had a pretty solid guess on who Kramer's Beach could be. And he thought the Bass Lake one was he just kept saying, this is really weird. I don't even understand it. And he said that he was going to contact the Indianapolis office
To try to
himself
find out.
and try to get it worked out with them.
Is it the same DNR officer?
The DNR officer I talked to is our Bass Lake guy, Adam.
Does he have coons too?
Yes.
Is there a way you could just send a letter to them and just ask them what it is that they're
Yeah, I mean,
alleging?
here's my thoughts, because I wanted to hear from you guys if you were undertaking a project there that had to be permitted, because basically the letter says there may or may not have been action here if you're seeking to modify this area, seek a permit. And so-
I did.
And we're not.
That's what our DNR guy said too, and the only permit that I have applied for is through IDEM for the well. And that was a long time ago, so I know that he said that wouldn't be this.
I can send a response letter. I mean, just to say, there's not been modification of the area specified. We're not looking to modify the area, so we're not seeking a permit. Further clarifications necessary, please let us know.
No, if they're.
Just to say,
We can find out what the complaint was, because this wouldn't have happened without somebody submitting a complaint, but we.
well, that's what
Submit
I'll
a-
ask them. I can ask them to detail what specifically they think has been modified.
Right.
I mean, maybe they just took a look at the beach and thought that perhaps over the last.
Well, yeah, because reading it, it kind of sounded like they witnessed it, but it's kind of hard to.
I mean, they're not citing us, they're not penalizing us, they're just
No.
saying if you want to modify it, seek a permit, so.
Right. But it kind of indicated that this is a warning and don't do it again if you're doing it, kind of. But
I mean, candidly, the DNR doesn't even enforce its own rules on our lakes, it leaves it up to us to do it, so.
anyways, right.
I have my doubts that they're gonna do anything at all,
Right.
but, yeah.
I guess I'd just like to find out if it was a complaint. Can we do freedom of information, find out who submitted that complaint,
I'll
and what it
send them
is?
a letter and ask.
All right.
Why would we have the same two complaints on the same two?
Well, I don't know if it's the same complaint.
Well, I mean,
It's similar.
it
It might have been one complaint triggered them to look at both beaches.
even has the same date. I don't know.
Well, it could be the same person complaining from one to the other too, so.
Yeah, because it does say on or about June 18th on both.
Could be a complaint for one and just a form letter for the other.
It's definitely a form letter, but yeah,
Well, anyways, we didn't do it, so it's like,
yeah.
and we're not looking to do it, so.
I just wanted everyone to know about it and so you know.
Okay. The next thing on the agenda is discussion of signage policy for the Starke County Park properties. And I think Bruce, you wanted to talk about that, right?
Yeah, I would like to talk about something else first and then that.
Sure.
I got a project that I think needs to be done at the Starke County Forest. And I've got a plan on doing it, but I needed to run it by the park board. To make sure that the plan makes sense and that it'll work and that it won't be a waste of time to do what I got in mind. It has to do with boundary line marking. I bought the property, we're surrounded, we're bordered by 11 other landowners. And every boundary is a little bit different, no two are the same. But there's 3 of them that I don't think needs anything because they're either going through the marsh, we're not gonna put marked boundaries in the marsh. It wouldn't be there if we did. And the other one on the corner down there is the boundaries of drainage ditch. And I don't think it matters if the boundary is down the middle of the ditch or on the left bank or the right bank, it just. So I think those 3 boundaries don't need anything. But all the rest of them are when I bought those properties in 1973 and 1985, and then in 2002. They all still had remnants of the old fences and old fence posts, because almost everybody used to graze these properties at one time. And over the years, those old fences and posts and stuff are just deteriorating, and they're hard to even find them now. And it's almost to the point where you can't find them, but it's not quite there yet. And so my question really is, if I were to relocate the old corners, and I've already started the process, along the east borderline. It's a mile long. And Bob Chorba owns about a half mile of that. And so we met and we talked about this project last week. And we both agree on the old boundary line. With the old fence, I can find the beginnings and some places in the middle and the end of the old fence on his property, for example. And the next one to the north as well. And they look like they're actually old boundary line fences as opposed to just some livestock fence that somebody put in and it doesn't really matter where it was. They look like they were, and I've always treated them like they were boundary lines. But they're getting hard to find. But I could still locate those corners and what I would propose if it could be used, if both our side and the other owner agrees that those are the property lines, is that all it takes? That we could mark those old fences, especially since in the cases of the 3 properties I've looked at with the other landowners, we all agree that those are actually the property lines. And so I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time remarking those property lines. And what I'm talking about is like every 100 feet, put a new metal fence and right down the old line. So that the reason that if we don't do that, then you're definitely going to have to pay quite a bit to get a surveyor out there at some point. Right now, we still got the old marks that we can find. So I would put up 1 fence post every 100 feet. And what it does is we mark and sell timber. That's part of the county forest, that's part of the income. And when we went through Bob Chorba's, we shared that line, part of the line I'm talking about with him this last year when we had our timber sale out there a year ago. And we both agreed on the line at that point. And so he had a sale and we had a sale. And that was fine. That's the way it's been ever since I've been out there. But at some point, you don't know who the next owner is going to be. You don't know if those old fences are going to be found. And so if a neighbor starts trespassing on our property, we can say this is the line if we've marked it, or vice versa. If we want to mark trees, we can mark it, not worry about getting in trouble with the neighbors.
Okay.
And I just think it needs to be done. If indeed finding those old corners and shooting a straight line and marking it with fence posts.
How many property owners are we talking about? 11.
There's 11 different property owners, and 3 of them aren't going to matter because, like I said, one of them's got that ditch, and 2 of them have marsh.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 8 different owners. One of them has already done what I'm talking about. They did it on their own about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure they hired a surveyor to actually find those lines and put those in. So there's about a quarter mile on the west property line that's already there.
Okay.
And I would assume that what all I would need to do there would be verify that was actually done by a surveyor.
Mhm.
And then we would just accept that.
Yeah.
That's already done.
Right.
But they did it the way I'm talking about. They put metal fence posts every so far.
Mhm.
And especially in the fall, you can look right down. And even in the summer, you can usually see from one fence post to the other.
Right.
So there's another, so of the 11, there's 4 of them right there that don't need to have anything done.
Mhm.
Because one of them's already done. The another one is one of the 2 houses that have properties off of on Highway 8.
Mhm.
There are 2 house lots that are excluded out there. One of them has done that
Okay.
already. And the other one I talked to a couple of weeks ago, and we couldn't find the lines, but he's confident there's buried stakes there.
Okay.
And I don't know anything about using metal detectors to find the buried corner, but that might be all that takes.
Okay. So it's my understanding, all the property owners we're talking about are in agreement where the line should be.
One that I've talked about so far. But I didn't want to just keep going if it didn't matter.
Mhm.
Because if that wasn't good enough for the park board and we had to pay a bunch of money to a surveyor to actually go out and reestablish these lines.
Yeah,
If we decide that we don't want to trust the old fences.
Yeah, my question is though, is how confident is everybody in knowing that those are that's what was the purpose of those fences? I'm a little worried. I'd rather, to me, get an idea of what it would cost to have a professional surveyor come out and do that. To know, I mean, I'm not against doing it. I just,
Well, that's why that's my question.
yeah.
If I did all that work, is it gonna be wasted? I don't wanna do a bunch of.
No, I think it's a good idea to do it. I'm not sure of the approach.
Yes,
Just a
sir.
question for knowledge, who's paying for the signs and the posts?
There
I mean,
won't be any signs, it'll just be metal posts. I don't know, that would be another question, but if that's all it is, to buy
You're saying
a
every
few
other
hundred
feet.
metal fence posts, yeah,
Yeah,
but
I would think, well,
20 posts, I mean,
just
that's
so,
a piece, we're 5-6 grand into it right now, just proposed.
yeah, just so everyone's aware though, any money spent out there would come through I would think through the forest fund, right? If we're gonna do a survey.
that money is available and
Right.
it certainly fit the.
That's what I would say it should
For using that.
come from.
Mhm.
But so I certainly, I wouldn't, I don't know that I would want to spend, I know it's to hire a certified surveyor to do it, it's gonna be way more than just the cost of fence.
What do you think, Justin, on if we got agreements from all the existing property owners, you think that would be sufficient, or do we have to spend the money to do an actual survey?
So it would be sufficient so far as that property owner is concerned, because if you're planting posts, the way I see it, on property that's not actually the property line, but the property owner is granted you as a license, to use and post a post right there, and a license can be revoked at any time. So if you're saying we think this is the property line, you're planting posts along, let's say it's 100 feet onto their property, they sell their property, now somebody else owns it. In effect, we've just signed a license agreement with them, and the new property owner could say, that's 100 foot onto my property, remove that, because we can't really, unless it's an easement agreement or something, we can't really
Right.
contradict a survey if it's so, because the survey is incredibly expensive, and I agree with you, it'd be a lot of money.
When we say incredibly expensive, do we have any idea of like a ballpark figure of what that would be to do that? Or can we at least try to find that out before we?
You took a lot of
It's a lot of money, I know that, I
Yeah.
hear people talk about it. I'm not smart enough to say, we got plats, survey plats for all of our property, because they're all, so we've got. Maps, footages and,
Right.
but we're talking about actually taking these plat maps and
So,
putting them on the ground.
Right, so a subsequent owner though, if we had agreement from the existing owner and then a subsequent owner buys the property, wouldn't it be their obligation to prove that we're on their land?
It depends. If it's seen as a license, they can revoke it. If we record like an easement agreement with them, it would run into perpetuity with the property. So if we say we're gonna plant these posts along this property, and both property owners are gonna agree that regardless of what the property line is, we're gonna record this as the easement against the property, and it runs into perpetuity, then you're right, they couldn't just revoke it. But if it's just a straight, in effect, a license agreement,
Right,
next property owner can come in if it's not really on the property line, and vice versa with us, and we could say, move that, we're getting a survey, move that, so.
so would you charge us a fee for doing the easements,
What would I charge?
easement agreement? Yeah,
Well, if I'm doing it for you guys, it's kind of just wrapped into what I already do for you guys, but yeah.
okay. Bruce, why don't you talk to all the property owners?
There's a hand up.
There's a hand up in the back.
Yeah, yes, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry, ma'am.
So, has anybody checked with the recorder's office to see if the survey's ever even been done on that property?
I'm just getting started, I didn't want to get too deep into it to find out I was wasting my time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then
too.
also, like, when it was donated in 2011, that's more of a justice question, wouldn't the county have been required to, when they take over a piece of property, to have a survey done?
Yeah, that's more of an auditor, I think, question, not in every case. I would say just in my private practice, more often than not, I don't see a recorded survey. Of course, you've got legals that are recorded, but I'm not a professional when it comes to reading legals. Those can be very difficult to follow. And usually you need somebody to map those out for you. That'd be another question. Yeah, it's something to look up. Maybe there would, maybe like Gwen says, there is a recorded survey and that'd be the easy answer. Maybe there's not, and that's the harder answer. Cause I can't read a legal and boundary calls and say, 100 foot from an iron post to an iron stake. You've read those long legals. They're different.
So I guess how hard would it be for us to check into, like, it was suggested to check into the recorder to see if what was done back then when we took over the property, would that be something we could do?
Well, I'm pretty sure
You can do
nothing
it.
was done. I mean, there's little descriptions for all of this, but that's the descriptions he's talking about.
Well, yeah, I think something's a little ahead of them to transfer the land from your ownership to the county, I would think, right?
Usually your legal descriptions are on the deed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we got the legal descriptions, but actually have markers out on.
No, yeah,
The
I
answer,
get what you're trying to do.
very certain, no, how would I not know that they were there? They were, you know,
That probably, what you're saying is that since they're not likely there now, they were never put there at the time.
there's been corner posts out there. That
Okay.
always looked really good to me, but
Okay,
I don't,
that's what my point is, those are starting to disappear and rot all over.
sure,
And things.
yeah, we need to,
Time to do something if we can salvage what we have.
yeah. Are there any abstractors anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there in Winnemac, Pulaski County Abstract, they do a real nice job. I mean, it's kind of the cheaper option. It's not,
Yeah,
but you may be able to engage somebody to read a legal and tell you about where your boundary line is. You're still gonna pay a little bit of money, but not the same kind of money you're gonna pay to a licensed surveyor probably.
Well, of course, Marty Lucas was the attorney when we did this. And he was heavily involved in that. My attorney that wrote up the original trust agreement. And then Marty Lucas for the county got together and resolved all these questions. And it was completed the donation.
Hmm.
So Marty's still in business and he's still being a, real estate attorney. So I
Sure.
would probably go talk to him.
yeah, well, why don't you do that? And then come back and let us know what we need to do to make it official, okay?
Okay.
All right, now what else?
Well, the original agenda item was just about signage at the Starke County Forest. And Amy and I both thought this probably was appropriate to talk about for all the park, all your properties, not
Mhm.
just ours. Because it has to do with policy about signage and when Rents headed up a committee for the Historical Society. And they had an Arbor Day celebration out there on the Starke County Forest to plant a tree in commemoration of the 250th anniversary. And the meeting went really well. We had a great attendance, which was exactly what we would want, because that's how people find out about the Starke County Forest and it gets used and it accomplishes its purpose of education that they're out there using. So the thing was very successful. They planted a tree. They got a swamp white oak donated by Arbor group in Ober. And it was a really nice tree. The signage that they put up, we didn't find out about the signage that they put up until I got back from Texas. For the World Environment Day. The signage didn't accomplish what we needed. And so we wanted to change the signage. Because this is all about education. And the sign for on the tree simply said it was what was the term they used? What did they?
she's got it back there.
Huh?
I said, Glenn's back there with the
Oh, there
sign.
it is. You got it, but I didn't know you can. Okay, so that was the sign that was on the tree. And it says Starke County Liberty Tree. Well, I don't know what a Liberty Tree is. So what we would have wanted was to have the tree actually identified as a swamp white oak.
Uh-huh.
And then, you want to hold that up again, Glenn? Sure. And then the bottom said donated by Over Arbor Gleaners. And that's actually, so I think the idea of having a more educational based sign and is logical, but the biggest question I had was about the donated on the bottom, donated by the, and we also had an Indian carving out there, which was the second sign.
Right.
And that basically said who did it. Who didn't say anything about who the Indian was or what it was.
Mhm.
It just basically said it was carved by this fellow and carving. Now that's handcrafted and donated by. See, we wanted a sign that said, why was this Indian? Who was that? It was supposed to be an Indian that was here as part, the original Indian tribes that were here.
Mhm.
And this was in commemoration of the Potawatomis, I assume. Could be Miami Indians. We're still trying to figure that out. But the carving was fine. But again, the question is, do we put signs up saying donated by? Is that, we don't have any other signage up. There's been other things out there. Nobody's claimed it as a donation, on a sign.
Mhm.
So the question is, do we go into donated by sort of signs?
Mhm.
And if so, do we have it as basically the whole sign? Or do we do it discreetly as a little clip at the bottom or not at all? So it just seems like we should have a policy on signage talking about who donated something. And go from there, because if you don't have a basic policy, then there's always gonna be hard feelings, because somebody's gonna get a big sign saying donated, by this, and the other guy's not gonna get a sign at all. So I just think there needs to be consistency in something like that. And up until now, we haven't been doing any donated by.
Well, so maybe not at the forest, but I know, I'm pretty sure out at the beach with the picnic tables, we have little. Placards on the picnic table saying who it was donated by, so we do that. So it's not like it's something that's.
Yeah, so anyway, so we just wanted to run it by our concerns and get a policy and then go from there. I'll give you an example. The one about the tree that was planted in the middle of the parking lot circle. And we thought a sign, which this was the recommendation that I came up with. This swamp white oak tree, see right away, it identifies as what it is. The swamp white oak tree was planted on Arbor Day 2006 in commemoration of the country's 250th birthday. None of that's on that sign.
Mhm.
We wanted to say, be educational. And then you can go on to say, it was planted for the commemoration of 200 by the Starke County Historical Society. And the tree was donated by the Oberlingers.
Mhm.
So you can add that if you wanted to do the donation thing, just
Yeah.
add that on the bottom. But we're talking about what the tree species is, why it's there, and from when.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted a more complete sign, and in the process of getting a sign with a little bit more information on it. Do we get it? How do we do the donated by and try to get some consistency? And the example that I wrote for the Indian was, the Indian carving was a tribute to the Potawatomi probably, but we're still trying to find out. A tribute to the Potawatomi Indian, who inhabited Starke County prior to the white settlement. And then it was carved from, it was carved by, then we could put his name in there, the carver. In 2026 from a white pine tree whose top was broken off during a severe thunderstorm in the spring of 2005. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that's an actual tree that he carved that into. It's just not a big clunk of wood that somebody drug in.
Sure.
And so you can see again, we're going to a sign and just got educational. And you can very easily put his name into that.
Right.
Sure.
What's the signage made out of? Is that supposed to be a temporary thing, or is that? It's fiberglass? Okay.
We would probably, that's another thing, what type of sign would we actually make?
Right. I mean, I think it's a good idea for us to have a policy. We don't really have one right now, but I think we'd have to
Right.
think about it a little bit.
How long do those signs last? Do you know?
Oh.
Huh?
Yeah, they're made of black, unless the tree falls on them and snaps them or something, they're a permanent,
They're not gonna fade or?
they're not supposed to, no.
Usually they use like automotive
Paint?
paint and stuff on there. I guess my question on the whole thing would just be, my understanding is that everybody knew the signs were gonna be there. People donated. So if we had specific ideas of what they wanted on the signs, why wasn't it said before?
Well,
Before the money was spent.
Yeah.
We didn't know the
On
sign
the sign.
would be there.
at least as far as the park board, I don't think anybody ever approached the park board
No.
to talk about putting up signs at the forest.
What,
And I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying that
I didn't talk to the board about any of the event, I worked with Amy and Bruce.
right, I know, but the park board should be aware of any signage that's going up on park board property, and I think it should have went through the.
The
park
only
board
thing
first.
that said about signs was, if you're gonna put a sign up, make sure you identify it as a swamp white oak. Because originally we were gonna plant a white oak. And I didn't want a white, swamp white oak identified as a white oak. That was the only thing said about sign.
Yeah,
I
okay,
just wanted it to be accurate.
sure, understand. Well, I like the idea of explaining why we put a sign up in the big, in the first place.
I guess to me, the question is there a way with the wording that you have and whoever you use, Gwen, to actually produce the two signs already? Is there a way that we can get together and see if we can come to an agreement on what that wording should say? Between,
The Historical Society didn't actually have anything to do with this project, it was all done through the 250th.
right?
So
So,
the Historical Society really shouldn't be mentioned on the plat. And we really would like to compromise with this, because this is being recognized as our Stark County Liberty Tree.
yeah, no, I that's, at least I'm only speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, but I don't have any problem with it, but I think the park board should okay any signage that goes up on park property, from the get-go, so, and even though maybe you just weren't aware that we should approve those types of things.
I feel like maybe somebody else should have told Gwen, I mean, she was just doing it.
Well, I feel like maybe Gwen should have told me what was gonna be on the sign. I didn't know to even ask.
Because there were signs going up, right?
Well, I guess I just assumed they would say what the things were. Sometimes you don't know the questions to ask. And you probably just didn't think about it, which is why we need a policy. So there's nothing to really be upset about. I mean, I know it's upsetting, but it's not to be hurtful. It's just.
Well, you're making the point that she could have been told by Amy that, hey, we should put this in front of the barn.
Yeah, but even
I didn't ever think about it.
even something as simple as putting the names on the picnic tables at the beach came before the park board. So, I mean, it's just a step that needs to happen so that the park board's aware of everything that was going on. This, myself as a park board member, when I went out there, I didn't know anything about the signs going up. I just wasn't aware. So, and I'm not trying to put fault on anybody. I'm just saying that I think going forward, we need to kind of rectify it.
I wasn't aware that the signs were gonna be there.
Right.
But all I said was can't identify this as a white oak because it's a swamp white oak, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. Actually, it's a really nice tree. But it needs to be corrected. That's all I said.
Yes,
Just moving forward from here on, so if we were gonna host events and things at the Stark County Forest, do we actually talk to the park superintendent, or do we talk to Bruce? Do we go to the commissioners since they own it, or do we come to the park board, or who would we actually have?
well, I think the park board is in charge of the forest. Okay,
But really not, because Bruce is the manager of the forest.
Well, no,
he
yeah,
donated it to the county and the county turned it over to the park board. So it's for parks board sets the policy for the forest.
Not according to the contract from 2011, he's still in charge of everything.
He's the manager of it,
Right.
yes, but it's run by the park board.
Right, and anything that Bruce has done in the past, he always comes in front of the park board, like sales or markings of trees or whatever for harvesting. He always comes in front.
Are
of the
you
park
upset
board
about
first.
the cost that you incurred?
Well, it isn't just that. I mean, I agree that, I mean, Amy and I talked about a lot of this stuff. I know.
I wonder what your objection is to changing the signs.
Okay, my objection is that I wasn't made aware of it at all. I went out there one day for an event that wasn't related to me, and I was shocked to see, I was actually very upset. Emotionally upset, to be honest with you, because I put a lot of time and so did a lot of other, when I went out there and the signs are gone. No communication about it whatsoever. So I feel like that was a big slap in the face for starters. Someone, Amy, somebody should have said something to me that the signs got taken down.
I didn't know when you got there that the signs were down.
Okay,
I took them down.
Bruce took a bit.
Because we
Well,
were
that's
getting ready to
fine.
have our event and they were inappropriate, I thought. Because we didn't have a policy about donating.
so we couldn't have at least
There
talked
was no
about it and
policy.
left them up until new signage was offered.
No.
Every event that the 250 committee has had, we have been promoting all of the things that we've done, which include the Liberty Tree. So now when you go out there, nobody even knows. what the
Okay,
Liberty Tree
okay.
is at.
Do you want to do new signs?
I'm not paying for new signs, those are donated.
We'll do this.
And my 4x4 poster's still sitting out there, and those are just fine for somebody to use again, I guess. Didn't rip those out of the ground.
You can have.
Well, why don't we just try to get an agreement on what the sign should say, and then I think Is there any disagreement with the wording that Bruce put out?
I was planning to send what Bruce came up with to
Mhm.
Gwen before we printed anything, so she could have told us this isn't quite right, but I like what Bruce wrote for the sign. I think it'll be great.
Well, let's try to work that out first, what the wording is going to be. And then have Bruce submit it to us for our next meeting so that we can approve it.
Yeah,
Or
come,
not.
come up with a sign. Show it to us, okay? I like what you're coming up with. I like the concept.
And I work for the park board.
Yeah.
By the way, the park board didn't exist when I donated that.
Yeah, no, I think we should be as educational as we can be about things. And I like the fact that we're paying tribute to the Native Americans that were here.
And in regards to that, currently the Historic Society is looking for information about what Indian we can call that, if we can actually give that a name or just call it a Potawatomi or Miami. We want to give it as accurate a name as we can.
Sure.
And well, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to contact the person who carved it and ask what he used as
I
a
did.
guide.
We already did.
Yeah, you already did that, okay.
So do we know, Gwen, do you know how much those signs were, if they were donated, but how much they actually cost?
I can get the receipts, I can save all the receipts and everything, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, all right.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a problem with signs in the forest that are fiberglass. I kind of think that, I know that fiberglass lasts a long time, but I just think it should be made out of some kind of natural material. Shellac, whatever, you can put polyurethane on it, but made out of a natural material because it's the forest.
What signs at a time?
Any sign that you do.
Any sign.
Because the signs we have there,
Or what?
there's signs that are telling what the different tree plantings were done.
Mm-hmm.
Those are metal.
Okay, and metal fine, but I'm just thinking that fiberglass is kind of toxic.
Bruce is gonna come up with the design and a sign and show it to us and we'll vote on it, okay?
And before we move on to that from this, I just want to say that Bruce started with that it was a wonderful event and you did a really good job on it.
Hey, not looking for a medal of that.
I know, but I don't want to leave it like,
No,
I just would rather focus on the.
No, I just think going forward, I mean, if there's something happening on park property that we're responsible for, just come to the park board meeting and make sure it's clear.
Yeah, I
So,
couldn't agree more, it's just that nobody
Right.
informed anybody of that, and that's.
Yeah, but right now, so we meet every second Tuesday at 6 o'clock, so anybody can come, so.
Yes, sir.
Just a question, would it be so horrible to put the signs back up until we get new signs made? I mean, is it that bad of a sign that we couldn't put it back up just?
I
till we
like
get
the
new
signs.
I come together here and compromise and, yeah, we need new signage and this one isn't gonna work and we'll move it on. I don't know, just a suggestion. I just
Yeah.
think kind of get things rolling along and
Some sign.
Or two signs,
I mean,
the original sign and then the
No,
detail.
we don't even have the reading board, but.
I mean, I don't know. It's just a suggestion. You,
Well, let's just leave it up that way.
Yeah, I think we should just come up with some signs. Okay, next thing is discussion of electric usage at Bass Lake Campground.
Well, okay, so part of this is in my superintendent report, but the electric pedestals were all retrofitted back to 30 amp service. So on these really hot days, so over 4th of July weekend, we lost power twice.
But that was from NIPSCO.
Well, one of the times was NIPSCO, but we did go out, we probably went out a couple times, and it's really that front row, the first 28. That's where we keep using it, and I think that's because there's a lot of big RVs in the front that use a lot. I don't know how to. I don't know, I know people are frustrated, I know campers are frustrated that the breakers keep tripping because they have less. I'm not sure how you guys want me to handle that.
Is the whole row going on at one time?
Yeah.
all 20.
Yeah, but my problem is, I mean, that's an issue for sure, because we had to lower it down to the 30 amp and we didn't really have any choice in that. But my understanding is that someone went and tried to do work on the panels,
Right,
which cannot happen going forward.
so,
To me, that's
Vandalism.
so on to that, yeah, so the second part of the story is, at some point, one of the times when it must have gone out. Someone went on one of the panels, one of the boxes, and pried, like with a crowbar, pried the whole metal cover off. And then took screws and screwed it back in when they probably went ahead and turned it back on. Which, so,
I don't know,
You
to
know.
me, a note should go out to, I'm not saying anyone in the campground necessarily did that, because you don't know 100% who did it, but. We should send out a note that anybody touching any of the electrical equipment within the park is gonna be considered vandalism and will be submitted to the sheriff or something.
Yeah, we need to do something. Not only that, it's probably dangerous for
mhm.
somebody to do something. Somebody's gonna get hurt. So, yeah,
So there's one breaker with multiple campsites on it.
Yeah, so there are 4, I believe, how many are there? 4?
So it's the main that's tripping, not the sub breakers. Too many circuits on the main then.
Oh, it's, yeah,
Well, that's during extremely hot days, right, that's been occurring.
yeah.
And we do know we have an issue, and that's why we're trying to get new electric out there, so. And that was part of the reason why we reduced it from 50 to 30 is to lessen the safety.
I do
Question,
send
so.
reminders, to try to encourage people to, conserve as much as possible, use solar timers, whatever. That, a lot of people aren't heeding that. I don't know what I'm supposed to really.
I was there last week and there was a few of them that just kept the lights on or 24/7, outside lights
And I-
24/7.
I hate to bring this one up, but the other thing that we haven't addressed since last year either, at the end of last season. We became aware that there was a car being charged out there that, in my opinion, I don't know what the rest of the
It
board
should
thinks.
not happen.
That can't happen and that can't continue because. We don't give every camper a free tank of gas when they come into
Right.
the lot, so.
Bring it up about the car getting charged. What are you gonna do about the golf carts?
Right,
What are you gonna do with the golf carts that are considered a vehicle at low speed, what they can go like 30 miles and less that are electric that you're charging?
We'll have to look at it.
No, I guess if you had an amperage usage, what you'd have to look at, and this goes back to even the campers, little breakers. 2, 3 air conditioners going, they got an ice maker,
oh, yeah, I
they got a
understand.
blow up
I understand.
building, so it's all gonna vary a lot on.
Well, the deal is, everybody's gonna pay for their own electric.
Right.
That's where we're headed. Okay? We're gonna change it all out if we get approval from the council and the commissioners. Everybody's gonna get billed for the owner electric use.
Well, and then that, yeah, once all that is done, the park board will have to make that choice going forward.
so is it,
Have more electric done too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll have a lot more.
you won't be having trouble with the.
Yeah.
Service.
I mean, is there really anything we can do this year? I don't know, besides send.
I think there's a big difference between a full size, automobile that goes in a golf cart. Now, I'm not disagreeing that the golf cart is an issue. So what we need to find out how many golf carts are being charged to, I guess, and just get an idea.
How many open
So-
campsites do we have right now?
What do you mean, like nightly
And
ones?
They're no permanent person. in them.
None. Oh, I see what you mean, like they just nightly.
Yeah.
Non-seasonal, 6, yeah.
You could move some from the first rank to those spots and leave a couple sites empty. That'll
Oh,
keep
they
you from blowing the mains.
freak out about that.
See, if they lose power.
And that's probably not gonna fix the issue if they don't wanna conserve and not run 2 air conditioners and an ice maker and an extra freezer.
Plus they got
Put it wherever
their
you-
yards all set up.
If you put the
Like
main
that.
in one spot,
I
you have
know.
to take a load off of it
I
somehow.
know.
And after you're saying that's happened twice this summer so far?
At least, probably one other time that I didn't know about when it got pried open, at least.
How long were the outages?
Not that long. So we went to the old trick of putting the umbrella up and putting a fan on it and it came back on relatively.
And we are in the process of, well, and I guess that kind of leads to this next question. is where are we with the contractor who bid to give us
Yeah, United Consulting said they will have everything ready by our August meeting.
Do they expect payment at that time?
No, I don't know. Usually you get 30 days or so after you receive something, but
well, my understanding is they're gonna submit us what the process will look like going forward, and we have to look at that and either approve it or not, right? I mean, we have to say whether we wanna go ahead and put those specs out as a bid. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure there's much we can do this year. Let's see. Okay. Next thing is the superintendent's report.
okay, I'll try to go quick. So first of all, at your tables, you'll see these, it says App Tech. These are quotes for Verkada camera system. So we do have some rudimentary cameras up that only record to an SD. Stanley thinks it would be a good idea for us to get one this year if we could swing it, one or two. So you're gonna see a quote for one camera, one for two. For his plan is to mount it like basically on the beach house roof so that it will capture both the entrance and exit at the same time. This camera would also have a license plate reader. And this would just be for the beach side this year. Now, you know, in my budget, I put in for more for next year, but Stanley wanted to see what you guys thought about doing just one this year.
what's the cost of one?
Well, if you look, it's the one that says 824 on the front for all together. So you're looking at the camera, the mount, and the license. That one, so for one camera, you're looking at
Is that 37?
get me the back.
Okay.
20.
2890. And then if you're looking at the one for two, for everything, that's 56, which I don't think we can swing that this year, but we could probably swing one.
We definitely need something, definitely. There's just too much happening.
I think we need it, but is it something that we have to have this year?
I don't know.
Why can't we look at it for next year?
We do have those old SD, you know, but
Can we afford this right now?
I don't know.
Is this something we want to take under advisement or think about or?
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe yeah.
What's been the issue? What's this year?
There's not actually an issue on the beach side. There was like a small bit of teenage pranks, nothing big. A lot of teenagers hang out there though, after hours, and the vandalism has more been on the campsite. We talked a little bit last month about the bathrooms, getting messed up a lot. And so I don't know. I mean, really.
Do we have any camera up there now? We have something.
Rudimentary with the SD, yeah.
Right, so there is something. It's not that we don't have any coverage.
Do we have coverage though on the beach house?
Not that way, not that way, but.
I like cell phone.
Okay,
The rest of you guys.
maybe we wait another month and kind of decide then, see how.
Maybe some of us, the park board member or two, go out and take a look at it and just see exactly what it is you're talking about and see what the
Okay.
issue is and see if it's something we
And
have. to have
Stanley
this
might
year.
meet us out and,
I'd be happy to do
yeah.
that.
Stanley's been doing a lot of work out at the park, just so you guys know, he spent quite a bit. He's trying to get the Wi-Fi fixed. He's trying to get the internet fixed.
What's the purpose of the license plate read?
I think if someone did vandalism or stole something, that way you could track them down.
So they have one of those cameras at the sheriff's office. And they might have one at the highway, because I know that it's either.
Well, I know they have the flat cameras
Yeah.
out there. This is at the.
No, yeah, like that, no.
No, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of controversy about those cameras.
Well, yeah. So
No, I think we've got to go that way, but I don't, we can kind of put it off for a while.
okay,
Okay.
yeah. We were inspected by IDEM for our water storage, in June. They do this every 5 years. We were asked to make some changes to the pump house, for example, raising the spigot about a foot off the ground and a few other minor things that we did right away. Jimmy did it. One of the water storage bladders though was what they call waterlogged, or like when you tap on it, it sounded hollow, so I could hear that it was no good. So we had no choice, that had to be replaced. And it was replaced by the same guy who put the first one in about 15 or 20 years ago, Bill Montgomery. The cost of that was $39.50. So I wasn't expecting that one. Then we lost power in the end of June as well, but that was when everyone went out. Due to the storm, I think it was. So that caused our lift station to go offline, the sewer. So in order to keep the beach and campground open, we had to have the lift station vacuumed out and dumped by DS&S Plumbing. So the bill for that was $2,400. So next year I looked at the cost for a good size generator that would have kept that online, and it was about the same cost. So I think next year, going into the season, we might want to invest in that.
Take a look at that thing.
But so the cost for just between the new bladder and the lift station dump totals were $6,350. And then there was another bill this month that we got from Stinger Group. It was for the bench and things down at the Highway 23 kayak launch. And apparently back in 2024, we agreed to pay for that. Well, we just got the bill and that was $4,000 too. So there's $10,000 out of our
I
budget
think
right
that
there.
answers the camera question.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, so, but on the upside, the concession stand is going really well. We're selling lots of t-shirts by Simon Speed Shop. Shelly can barely keep up. And we're selling rabbit cold brew coffees and boba tea refreshers. We just launched lemonade this week and those are going really good. I will need to get my manager serve safe license in order to offer hot food. And I've been studying, it's probably a doable test, but it is a proctored test. And so I am not going to just wing it. I don't think I can get it done this season, all this to say. I thought I could, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. So the week of 4th of July, we made between Monday through Sunday, we made $4,047 on just the beach side. So just beach gate, concession, and t-shirts. So by contrast, we made $7,683 for beachside the entire month of June. So we did really well last week, and I think July will be a good month for us. We need it.
Yeah, totally welcome.
Yeah. This summer I deposit all the cash to First Source Bank. We talked about that before. It's called a ledger account. Then I write the check to the treasurer at the end of the month. So our reports are going to look a little different. You're not going to see as, quickly as before on the cash. We also have Square and Venmo electric banking options now. Bev has started locking the bathrooms on the beach side by 9 p.m. Usually, when it starts getting dark. That has actually cut down on the amount of people hanging out there at night. It seems to be,
What are our hours? Hours are 8 o'clock, right?
well,
We have a sign on the door that says they will be open during beach
Beach
hours, so.
but she likes to keep them, for the boaters.
We have,
So I'm-
we have publicized beach hours though, don't we?
No,
No,
I thought we did.
well, we have beach out.
Well, beach gate, yeah, but we close that at 5,
Okay.
4 on the
So if
weekdays.
there's a bunch of boaters on the weekend, I wait till 9 o'clock. But during the week, I look if it's cold, I shut them at 7:30.
Between that and getting the Sloan valves changed on those toilets down there, really there are no problems down in that bathroom like there was last year. They're staying pretty clean actually. Let's see. we talked last time about making a full-time, asking for a full-time position for Bev, and I had a title in there that I think I'd like to change. I had something in there about events, but that's not really true to what the position will be doing. So I'd like to just call it Bass Lake Beach and Campground Property Manager, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I guess as long as, I know for the budget hearing, you just have to have the job description thoroughly laid out.
We have it.
Yeah.
As long as we have the job
Got it.
description approved, then we should be good.
Yeah, we'll bring that in next time.
August, I'll bring it in this. Yeah. Okay. Pier safety. Okay, so we've had some discussion about how to keep the piers safe. So I am noticing now that, I mean, the beach is busy. There are a lot of people on the beach. I love to see it. I love hearing the people play, but it's like the piers are becoming, part of the
Well,
public forever. I've seen little kids jumping off of them.
and that's kind of where the sign came up, right? I mean, that's where the idea for it.
Well, yeah, down
So-
by Gary's.
Yeah, down to the South Pier, so, I don't know, to me, I think that if we're gonna do that type of gate, it should be at the front of the pier. For all of them,
Okay, and you want to do it on all of them?
I think, I mean, if the signage that's already there. Is not making it clear enough that. Nobody but pier slip holders should be on that pier, then I don't have a problem with the gate at the front of each one.
I got something here I'd like you all to see, that's about the pier gates.
Okay.
And the reason for them. You'll see pictures in there too. The fire department has got theirs gated and locked.
Yeah, at the front of the pier,
Well,
and that's all I was suggesting.
no,
It
well,
wasn't different than what you're just.
the reason I wanted to specify with you, Amy and I talked about it. And since that pier bothered nobody else, didn't interfere with anybody,
Ooh, what pier?
where the gate is. Because there's nobody that goes beyond that gate except one boat owner. But I've talked to the majority of the boat owners that are on the south pier.
Mhm.
And they would love it to have it moved down so nobody could get on that south pier at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
So-
and that's what that was my only suggestion, is that if we're gonna put up. Gates, it should be put up at the front of the pier to make sure that. Folks know that, and I think the sign on that gate should read the same thing as the signage that's already there. The
Just
sign-
stay out.
Well, no, the signage that's already there, it says private pier slip holders only. It's already posted, yeah, no siding.
It's actually no entrance.
Well, whatever that sign says,
So
I
they're
think
the
is what
same.
it should say on the gate.
So, cause they like to play on that pier, the one.
Well, no, they didn't play on it.
I know. But you know, the problem is the south pier has no eyes on it. The north piers, there's like 4 boat owners that live right across the street from.
Yeah, it was the first couple of years, I'd have to chase boats off. They were coming over from other campgrounds and things like that.
I chase,
They're trying to, not get on.
yeah, because I'm chasing people off constantly on that pier, swimmers, fishers, and the other thing is the liability, kids running down the pier to jump and dive in. They have sand fights up the pier, the wave runner there was covered in sand,
Yeah, I just agree with you. I think the gate belongs at the front of the pier.
that's fine.
Well, actually, so I was there last week. The piers, part of them are like in the low area. These kids are just like, they'll bypass that gate and just climb up on that pier.
Yeah, but the problem is though, is the fire department one has things going up from each post. We don't have that. They're only this far up off.
Well, we do, I was looking at it and
She
then
wants to
also,
put chain up on all of them, get a couple feet up, and the piers that are the poles that are short, like at the end. We can line the PVC pipe to hook the chains up to, which would make them all uniform height all the way across.
Yeah, but can we look at that for next season, trying to change it all right now? I really think it's sort of good.
we better do something now. Like, I see people on there, I see little kids jumping off that south end. If we at least tried the gate, move the gate, and at least tried the chain there, maybe just try it on the south and see how it goes before we make a big investment into the other ones. But I think we better do something.
Right, because that's the other thing too, is that's gonna go into the cost of
Well, we can take that chain out though.
before the removal and
I
installation.
think that's something like we can just do.
What?
Take the chain down.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do the chains in the gates, I don't care. And so we can keep them in one spot, we'll put them in after the piers are in, and we'll take them out after Labor Day, because that's technically when the lease ends.
Okay, yeah, and the beach is over.
And the beach is actually technically closed.
So you wanna just try the south with the chain first and see how it
See what it
goes?
looks like, yeah, and see how
Because the
successful.
fire department's got the same chain on theirs.
Similar, yeah.
It's just plastic garden
I
thing.
guess I'd just like to see what ours looks like.
So we can try the one pair, she can order the chain.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good.
I have one of those back. I think I need to do.
You did. Okay,
Just one more thing, sorry, Grant. Talk about my events. So, Bass Lake Fest is July 24th and 25th, so I gave you one of these. This shows everything happening just at the beach. We do not charge beach gate entrance for Lake Fest weekend.
Okay.
We will have the concessions open. Wish I was selling hot dogs. I tried to talk to the health department lady. I was like, what if we do it like this? No. Okay, so we're not gonna have hot dogs, but we will have other things. And then there is a sun catcher class, a little fundraiser similar to the painting one we did. It looks really cute. And then the luau on the lake is August 8th, and this is gonna line up to be our annual big fundraiser every year. We have, so that will happen before I see you guys again, which is really weird. I hope I live through it. We're having a band, a fire dancer, SpongeBob, vendors. It's gonna be awesome. Little hula dancers.
Do you know who's all, how many vendors do we have?
Right now, oh, he would ask me that. I was just counting it. Right now, for people who have all their paperwork turned in and everything, about 6, but we have a lot more who plan to, yeah. There'll be a mad dash at the end for all the vendors to get their paperwork in.
Hopefully we won't run out of food.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
Like 6.
Yeah.
yeah, I think after last year though, they've gotten an idea of how
Busy, yeah.
busy it got, and I think this year's gonna be even better, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That is the end of my superintendent report, but if you guys will look at your financials just real quick. So I do need to go over with Michaeline and have some things changed around. If you look at that beach entrance, that somehow I accidentally put the 7,683 into piers. It goes to beach. I'll get that moved around. We have some more. We actually are down to only 2 piers left, 2 to rent. Yes. So that pier rental number is going to go up, and all of it will go up, of course. When you get to office supplies, I need to move something there. It was hard this year because I set up an office and a concession stand, so that is where a lot of you see that there. Repair and maintenance, I made an error. The furnace, the down payment for 50% down for the furnace should have come out of water softener or mini split, so I'll have Michaeline fix that. Which will give us all that there. So we can either, when we go to the balance for the furnace, once I take it out of the mini split and the water softener, is gonna be 8,328. So we can either take that from repair and maintenance, which we're only gonna have about 15 to there, or I can go and ask for an additional appropriation for that. You'll see we have plenty in the revenue. Then
There's no other number account that we can move from within that range? Cause that you don't need the appropriation for.
really,
No.
I mean, I guess, well, I'll let you look at it. You're more of a numbers guy than me. You'll probably say yes, we could. So we'll have to fix that water softener and mini split. We talked about that. So that's gonna change the equipment budget a little bit, so we'll have 17 there. So yeah, so our cash balance right now, we're sitting at 200,000. We've brought in so far 338,000. And we were appropriated to spend 301.
Right, so, but the 338 is part of the carryover as well from last year.
No, the 338 is what we have brought in this year.
only.
Yes, that's our receipts.
Not, yeah, but the receipts, I think, start with the
Receipt.
carryover from last year. I think. So we'll take a
No,
look.
cannot,
Yeah.
no one can ever really answer that.
Cause I think, carryover was about 99,000.
91,256.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
It's like-
carryover number, I think, is included in that.
Or does that go into cash? I thought that that carryover went
I always
into
thought,
cash.
I always thought that the carryover went into receipts, but I could.
But isn't receipts like what you make? So that doesn't make sense.
It is, but I think it goes into the carryover. We can double check that, but I think it does.
I'm not about
I'm just saying. So, that was a great amount, but we also have to remember, whatever we carry over still has to last us until the payments for the leases for the campground and stuff start coming in too. So that's gotta cover our expenses for the first couple of months. So you gotta be careful with how much we're spending to make sure we have enough carryover to pay the bills.
Well, that's it.
Receipts are great though. They're doing
Thank you.
better than they were last year. And it's great to see that the beach house is
A lot of
revenue, not.
Yes, and people are very happy with everything. Some people get very sentimental. Some people have almost cried when they come in the beach house because they remember it when they were young, or like it has a special memory for them. So that's been really cool.
Well, no, and you've had a lot more events. I mean, especially that old, I can't say.
Station.
Coffee conversation, right?
Yes,
That's been fun.
that's been great.
I can't see it the yoga one, but.
You should have. I loved that one.
Yeah.
Rick, the yoga one was good, right?
What?
The yoga coffee and conversation. The yoga?
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, so we had the sheriff, we had Just Breathe Holistic, we have had Jim from EMS came and talked about heat and the aging body and things like that, and then.
And that's an FYI, we're skipping it this Thursday. 'Ause
Yes,
Big Boy
and
event.
then last week was Travis Flora,
Right.
and then this week we'll skip it for Big Boy.
Right.
That's that.
Yes, Rick.
Yeah, I wanna talk on those piers. We all know what we went through to get the 98 slips from the DNR. And it's all drawn up on here. Are we allowed to put gates up on that pier? Can I put a gate up, the block to get to protect my boat, so nobody could go through there? And my neighbor put one up and the guy across there, and we'll probably take 3 spaces that nobody can go on.
Yeah, that's why I think it belongs at the beginning of the pier, so that it's really not part of the pier. And that way it doesn't cause any issues with our pier permits.
I don't have a problem with that,
Right.
but let's not pull punches. Gary's got he's got a gate up there. And that section goes all the way down, and I don't mind him protecting his boat. You can't get, it says private, can't go through that gate. The other side of that pier, it's aluminum, and there's an area to pull in to pick up handicapped people. You can't get to it because that gate blocks.
Right, but that's what we talked about at the begining of the meeting was,
Nobody's supposed to be pulling into that pier.
yeah.
Pardon?
That pier is only for slip holders. That's not for loading and unloading.
I don't have a problem with that. But look, you can put a gate up. I got 6 people. We'll block the whole end
That's
of that.
fine. Did you just hear what the man said?
Would you like to put the gate up? That's what I wanna know.
Well, let me explain this. Amy and I talked about it. The reason wasn't for my boat. It was to keep people off that pier because that section of pier interfered with no other boaters except me. Once the boaters told me that they love the idea of having a gate, it was discussed, it was gonna be moved down, so all the boats would be protected.
So that's where we're at.
And that's
Let's
where we're at
move
now.
forward. Yeah.
It's gonna be one gate for all the boats.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem. Look, if you could put a gate up, I want mine protected. My neighbor wants his protected.
But you know what? Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem.
So you're gonna put.
You didn't come say anything to me.
You didn't come say anything to me. I just saw a video. Give me authority to do that.
From the park superintendent.
I asked her about that. She said that gate just went up.
I will say there was, we did discuss it, it was a little bit of a miscommunication. I did think you were putting it up, I was gonna say this, Gary, but I did think it was gonna be up closer. But I guess my question is, should we just go forward with doing it on all 3? Because I don't want anyone to feel like, well, we're protecting this one set of piers, but we're not protecting others.
And you'll walk on that pier.
If you put a gate on for the main walkway for all piers, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm just-
I think that's what the board
I
agreed.
think that's what we agreed to do.
Well, then let's go ahead and put gates
Yeah.
this year.
And then just for future, there really shouldn't be the crosstalk within the audience. If you wanna talk, you should raise your hand, get recognized by the chair, and then we'll direct the conversations. It shouldn't be the crosstalk going on.
You have a question?
If they're done, the installation of the gate, should it be hanging off the aluminum post for the pier, or should it have a separate post for it? We mentioned the fire station has one, and I don't quote me 100%, but I think those are steel augers that the gate's hanging off of,
Yeah.
not aluminum foot.
Let's go on. Well,
Um,
the pipes on aluminum piers are not aluminum, they are steel.
Yeah, well, let's go,
You know.
let's take a look at that, because I think in order to protect ourselves, to make sure that we're not in violation of peer permits and that kind of thing, it might be a good idea to put it in the ground as opposed to.
I will also tell you that no additional holes or anything are being drilled in the supports for the pier.
Yeah.
It's using the existing holes that are there already, so,
Okay.
and they are steel poles,
Yeah.
they're not aluminum.
My only concern is that we make sure that we're not changing the structure of the pier and the pier permit itself, because the pier permit does not mention gates attached to the pier, so I think we gotta be careful there. So.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I just want to say for the Kramer Beach, 4th of July celebration, we had a lot of people show up there, very respectful. We had a lot of going on too, so thank you so much. I mean, we had a great turnout from our whole community.
Awesome,
So it went really well.
good.
Great.
Good.
I know, I wasn't able to come to the Coons Lake Association meeting. I forgot about it, and my mom called me that morning, said, "Are you coming?" I was like, "Oh, I gotta work at the beach." So next year, remind me ahead of time.
You need to start your calendar like,
I know.
Papa Pizza, January, you need to start your calendar to book.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay,
I think that,
I got one more thing.
yes.
While we're on the Pierce, topic, which is very sensitive all the way around, condition wise and that. I propose having a spot that's handicap accessible. I got a very good friend of mine, his son, he's a quadriplegic. And the pier is not adequate to even bring a chair down it, and he's got a very small chair for width. As Gary said, that pier is only used for him because he's a slip holder. What would it be for me to get in my boat to bring it over to that spot to be able to load somebody that's handicapped, because there's no other access on either the middle or the north pier unless it be on the inside and ankle deep to knee deep of water.
I like that, because the rest of the whole thing was about us getting, compliant for ADA, so that's like the one place we don't.
Well, can we do that? I mean, there's no problem. We just need to make sure that it's used for handicap stuff. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
Well, and I get that, and it's really, I mean, I'm over that, I'm all over that. I live out there during the summer, I got the boat. The reason I'm there is because of the boat. I'm not there to camp, really.
And you're a slip holder.
I'm a slip holder and I'm a camper.
Right.
Like I said, I live in English Lake. I'm 15 minutes away from here. This is my serenity. I'm tired, retired, so I use the lake,
Yeah, one thing that's,
But the,
I don't.
the issue with people on it is really not just the South Pier.
No, that's why we're.
And it's just not beachgoers.
Right.
This is slip holders, people that have boats there, people that are campers there,
Mhm.
people that show up, if we're gonna talk about people on the piers.
Right, yeah, I agree with you 100% that it isn't
Um,
just beachgoers. Like I said, when I first got involved in this, I was chasing people off that were coming on boats from other areas of the lake with pontoons full of people trying to use the beach and use the piers and all of that.
And
We had to keep an eye on it. It was tough.
we are every beach is, every pier, we do what we can. Every pier is posted, no trespassing.
That's right at the entrance of it.
Yeah.
90% of them are getting on the pier in the water.
You mean,
You
you mean.
That's what we need, that
Yeah,
fast.
They wants to put the chain up.
Well, I think that's why the gate at the beginning of each pier is Well, let's see how that works first.
But it's gonna be, I mean, in my opinion, it's gonna be a tough battle right there, because the people don't really, regardless, they don't care.
Yeah,
I went out there 4th of July and there was people sitting on the pier, which has me scared just even thinking about that many people on some of them piers out there with it collapsing.
Mhm.
And they're boaters, you know what I mean? And then how do you tell, hey, you can't sit on the pier in front of your boat or whatever?
I know.
But I mean, it's kind of where, how far are you gonna go with it? Cause like I said, it ain't just somebody coming in the gate.
No,
to
and
do it,
last
it's-
weekend there were people hanging out on the middle and they were friends of pier holders and they took these like floating, I don't know, whatever you call them, islands, and they attached to the pier section, 2 of them, and hung out there. They were like, it's fine, we have pier holder friends. So that's why you see it's
Yeah,
getting
fine.
very
Shouldn't be
popular,
touched
but then there's
anything.
downsides to that.
Yeah, it's,
You either have to, and I know it's not their job. I mean, either the people on the pier, when they see something like that, or have to say something. Or they're gonna have to notify you or the gate people to let us know so we can
Mhm,
do it. It is a tough job.
mhm,
I mean, there's 1, 2 of us and there's 3 piers, you know.
mhm.
And you've got the right to tell, I mean, I know some people don't want to, but. You've got the right to tell them, hey, pier holders are, you know how many people, this is one reason for the gate, you know how many people we get off the piers? Piers slip holders only, no trespassing. Well, I didn't see no sign, well, you walked right by it. to get out.
Right.
But at least with the gate, you have to open the gate, so you
Yeah.
physically have to stare at the sign to open the gate.
I-
Well, and I think having the sign on each gate, like there is a sign there now that says the
I
gate.
mean, it's like trespassing at your house, you know, you can only.
It's not gonna stop the one who wants to do
Yeah,
it.
the one
Yeah.
who wants to do it's gonna do it no matter what.
But the chains will keep the kids from jumping off of it, I think.
Or at least cut them down.
Yeah.
I don't mean cut them down. I mean, cut 'em down.
All right, anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
There's